Coming to you live from $1 Million Studios, Chris Speez and the benchmark of professional wrestling, Mr. Silky Baines.
Kill yourself.
What was that, sir?
Kill yourself.
Oh, okay. Speez and the Benchmark Show on a Monday night, October the 21st, 2019. Thank you so much for being with us here on Twitch. Happy to be with you guys again. Talking some wrestling here tonight. Going to talk some Monday Night Raw here on the program. If it is your first time here, welcome. Make sure you follow us on Twitch. And also, if you'd like to pitch into the cause here, you can drop those bits or you can become a subscriber for as little as $4.99 a month. All that information scrolling down below there. Or you can do us a favor and leave us a tip at the tip jar. tinyurl.com/SB tip jar. Because as Silky is fond of saying,
kill yourself.
No, these bills need to get paid. And of course, if you want to get in on the phone lines tonight, Silky doesn't seem very talkative this evening, so you can give me a call. 832-937-4559 is the phone number to get in. That's 832-93-SILKY. He's not breathing. Call 911, says Brian. He'll be fine. Hello, Ravensblood. Good to see you as well. Welcome in, you guys. Talking some Monday Night Raw here tonight, and I got to be honest, I enjoyed the shit out of Raw tonight. It was very pleasant to enjoy Monday Night Raw once in a while. I thought there were a couple of really good matches, and they're doing an okay job of building to this Saudi show, which, you know, I'm not necessarily turning backflips over. I think there's some silly matchups in Saudi Arabia, and we'll talk about that as well. But look, some pretty good stuff going on Raw tonight. Thank you, Lit Mantis, for the bits.
Bitmania brother. Kill yourself. Just kidding.
I like how you phonetically spelled out, kill yourself. Who's a worse actor, Lana or Aisha Edwards? I'm going with Lana because Aisha is so bad. It's funny as hell. All right, then. Mr. WWE says 7 out of 10, but a pretty damn horrible crowd like last night for the Impact show, Bound for Glory, in my opinion. Is that a cutout of Silky or an image? It's actually, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Silky's just, he's just mesmerized by, I don't know, something over there. Who knows? 832-937-4559 if you want to get in on the phone line. So let's dive into some Monday Night Raw here tonight. Does the title still say Raw Review, Hell in a Cell Recap, and Smart Tears? Jesus, Speez, get it together. Oh, well, too late now. No, it's not a cutout. It's just an image. I actually made an image, cut Silky out, so that on days like today where he's working the shoot job, and he's working the shoot job on Friday as well. But thankfully, he told me ahead of time, so my main man Kyle King will be sitting in on Friday after SmackDown. But we're not doing this shit where we miss shows anymore because I'm tired of that and I don't like it. And it's nobody's fault. It's just shit happens. Although we are going to miss a show in a few weeks because I have to take my son, the prodigal son, David Spizak. I got to take him to the NASCAR event at the Texas Motor Speedway the first weekend in November. I have failed as a parent because my son doesn't give two shits about things like baseball and football and all that other kind of stuff. He watches fucking NASCAR. I have never in my life watched a NASCAR event. Somehow my son is a NASCAR fan. I blame my father-in-law, delightful man, but he is ruining my child. How long before those certain people realize there was no women's segment or matches? That's a good question, Mr. WWE, because honestly, I didn't even think about it until you said it. But I'm sure someone will say, no wonder Speez liked the show so much. He's sexiest, as Brooke likes to say. Or sexist, depending on how you look at it. Peck and Rod, thank you for the host, sir. I appreciate that. Look, folks, we got to get these follow numbers up. I'm seeing other people's follow numbers because, yeah, I'm that guy. And they're going through the roof, and all of a sudden, we bottomed out. We flatlined here. So tell your friends, get their asses over to Twitch, download the app, and follow Speez Benchmark, the best goddamn talk on WWE that there is on the interwebs. Okay, maybe we're right up there, but nonetheless. There was a time when Whit Mantis was a draw when he came on a live stream. Yeah, Lit Mantis, we're going to have to make that happen again. I have to get you on the show. You and the Sleaze both. But we'll get you on here soon enough. Certainly going to be opportunities knowing Silky and the job. Nothing better than seeing cars making left turns over and over again. Exactly. That's going to be me. Except it's going to be live, blowing my eardrums out. Welcome to you, Juanito. Thanks for the host. I appreciate that very much. So let's talk some Monday Night Raw here. You kicked off the show with Ric Flair coming out and doing his Ric Flair thing, and he's still fantastic on the mic. He's still talking about banging people's moms, which is hilarious because that's what he does. But he was announcing the 5th member of Team Flair for this big matchup, Team Flair versus Team Hogan, that is happening in Saudi Arabia. And I'm going to see if I have this shit remembered because I didn't write it down. I'm doing my silky thing, and I don't have my notes in front of me. But you got Team Hogan, Roman Reigns, Rusev, Ali, Ricochet. I can't remember the fucking 5th guy. I knew I would forget somebody. But anyway, that's Team Hogan. Team Flair has got King Corbin, Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Lashley, and he announced today Drew McIntyre as the 5th member of Team Flair. Team Flair should, by all rights, kick the shit out of this other team. Shorty Gable, thank you very much. Or Shouty G, as I said, because it's got to spell it Shouty if we're going to call him Shorty G. Thank you. Team Flair is much more impressive. I totally agree, Brian. Drew McIntyre. So Drew McIntyre comes on out and starts talking his shit, and we get our here comes Ricochet. And I got to tell you guys, I tweeted this out. This was as entertaining a match as I can remember seeing in Raw in a long, long time. This match was fucking outstanding. And you know me, I'm not the guy that comes on here and just kisses ass on WWE just for the hell of it. We've never been those guys. But this was a good match. It was a really good match. It might have gone on a little bit too long, but it made sense. Ricochet sells his ass off, and that's what I've always loved about that guy. He makes whoever he's fighting look like a fucking champ. And he did that with Drew McIntyre. But when Ricochet was getting in his offense, it made sense. You know, of course, he did the Ricochet dive through the ropes where he flips and lands on McIntyre. Well, how that whole thing got set up is McIntyre standing on the apron outside the ring. Ricochet drop kicks him in the knee. He falls, hits his knee on the apron. So he's kind of crippled outside. That's when Ricochet does the dive. It wasn't just, oh, he's standing out there like a fucking goof waiting for the guy to come and dive on him. It was really well done. Drew carried most of the match. Ricochet got some of his shit in. I thought there were a couple of kickouts that were a little bit silly, but it wasn't overly done. It wasn't Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano ridiculous. And I thought both guys came out looking great, but the right guy won. Drew McIntyre should win that match based on the fact that he just had the segment where Flair announced him as the 5th guy. This was a great match, a really great match. And it gets me to the point where you see a match like that and you go, what the fuck, man? Why can't WWE do that all the time?
What the fuck?
It just doesn't make sense. They have so much talent on that roster. And it seems to be so, we get these kind of matches so rarely. They're so few and far between, and it just shouldn't be that way. They came out there and kicked ass. It was awesome. Bobaruski says that man slurs more and more every time he's in the ring and on the mic talking about Ric Flair. That's true. Mr. WWE says Ricochet may be the best seller in all of wrestling. He's very, very good. I mean, I put him up there with guys like Dolph Ziggler, who I think is fantastic. He's really good. And to WWE's credit, I think Ricochet should be the blueprint for how you bring a guy up from NXT. I can't think of a guy who's had a more, it's been successful, but it hasn't been overdone. He hasn't been over pushed. He wasn't immediately at the top of the card, but he's working his way up and he's staying on television. He's staying in good feuds. He's losing matches from time to time, but he's winning matches from time to time. He's got a belt on him. You know, he's done some shit. But it hasn't been, okay, he's been up here and right away we're going to put him in the Universal title match and make him the first Universal champion ever, like Finn Balor. Which wasn't an altogether bad thing, and who knows how it would have worked out if Balor didn't get hurt. But I love the way that Ricochet's been used since he's come up to the main roster. I feel like it's been a good mix of wins and losses, and he's managed to stay relevant in that entire time period. It's really well done. And another set of guys they've done a really good job with is the Street Profits, and we're going to get to them later on because they were fucking outstanding again tonight as well. Ricochet made Drew McIntyre look fantastic. You're exactly right, Ravens Blood. He did. MJ, good to see you. When Kyle subs for Silky, it's like when Jimmy Garvin tried to be a free bird. That's fucked up, man. That's a bit strong.
It's a goddamn abortion and a disgrace.
That's a bit strong as well. But Alice, I cannot give you an NWO shirt. I don't have an extra NWO shirt to spare. But we're going to start doing some giveaways again. And I got an autograph from a guy that I reference quite often on my Twitter account. And that's going to be our next giveaway. I'm going to announce it tomorrow, and we'll do the giveaway on Friday. But if you follow us on Twitter, at Speez Benchmark, you'll know who I'm talking about. I reference this guy quite a bit. He's one of my favorites. And an autographed 8x10 of him in this week's giveaway, so we'll start doing that as well. Lit Mantis says, Ziggler's a great wrestler as well as a great seller. Same with Roman. Brock, thank you. Thank you, Lit Mantis. Excellent point. Brock Lesnar also sells really well and does everything else really well. Brock Lesnar's a great example. Because again, when he's told that it's his time to do the job, he makes the other guy look fucking outstanding. He doesn't go bitch mode and, go Hogan and fuck things up on purpose. God, that Hogan Sting match. Oh, what a disaster that was. Anyway, Brock Lesnar is a great example. Ricochet is still relevant, so that's a good thing coming from NXT, Ravensblood says. Totally agree. Ricochet is a great wrestler, says Libmantis, but I hate flips. Again, I feel like it can be a little excessive with Ricochet. And you know me, Litmantis, I'm with you. I don't generally like all the flippy shit myself. Ricochet, I can take it in doses, Alistair Fiend, thank you very much, sir.
Terminator 100 bonus 10 benchmark. You okay, lol? He's
okay. The Terminator bits tonight. Thank you very much for that, Alistair Fiend. Appreciate it. The injury ruined him like the constant injuries ruined the Revival for a long time until Vince stopped being pissed at them. I would assume, Mr. WWE, you're talking about Finn Balor. But so it happens. If it is who I think it is, pass, says Bobaruski. Not, oh, I see what you're saying about the giveaway. Don't be that guy, Bobaruski. Don't be that fucking guy. These kids need to watch Lesnar from 2002 to 2004 if they want to see some quality shit. That was Brock at his best. It's like people have selective memory, Litmantis. Like they just want to remember the Brock from the last couple years who doesn't show up as often and has matches with Goldberg where, how are you going to get a good match out of those two guys? It's just not going to happen. It's just two big motherfuckers. Beef overload! Fucking beef overload in the ring, and they're just going to throw each other around. Go watch some Ricochet when he was Prince Puma in Lucha Underground. Some incredible stuff. Yeah, Lucha Underground was way too flippy for me, MJ. It was out of control. But there was some fun stuff in there. It's good if you want to watch gymnastics and acrobatics and shit like that. But, yeah. I've seen the DVDs and Brock versus Taker's classic Hell in a Cell match. Yeah. Brock and Taker and Hell in a Cell were great. Absolutely great. Thanks to all you guys for joining us. By the way, I didn't mention this. If you wouldn't mind, if you're sitting by your phone, if you're not watching us on your phone, you can hop over to the Twitters, retweet the program. Tell your people to do the same. I'd appreciate that. But anyway, if you come to us to find out whether or not Raw is worth watching, I'm going to tell you this much. The first half hour, you can skip the Ric Flair shit. It's fun just because it's Ric Flair and we're probably not going to get too many more years of Ric Flair coming out and being Ric Flair, so I try to enjoy it while it lasts. But that Ricochet-Drew McIntyre match is as good a match as you're going to see on Raw. It was really, really, really good. And it wasn't the only good match on Raw, so go figure. 832-937-4559 if you want to get in on the phone lines. We get the OC talking about their match coming up later tonight against the Street Profits. I was under the assumption that this was going to be a 6-man tag and the Street Profits were going to announce a third team member. It was going to be a 6-man tag. Did I miss the boat on that? Because it ended up just being a tag team match between the Street Profits and Gallows and Anderson. And we still got their third member come out a little bit later on. We'll talk about that. But I'm not sure what the hell was going on with that. Bill, welcome to you, sir. Ricochet has to watch out about landing on his neck so much or he will be in trouble. Yeah, my son came down just in time to see him when he got flipped over the top rope and landed outside and just it didn't look good. Didn't look good. He does have to be careful. Welcome to you, Gannicus. Noob, good to see you as well. Year 2095, WWE still brings Ric Flair's clone out. Probably. Maybe it'll be old, decrepit Charlotte Flair at that point. She'll be coming out doing the Ric Flair thing. Aleister Black against some guy, and I apologize, local jobber guy, but I don't remember his name, and it's terrible of me because I give Silky shit for not mentioning guys' names. The recap that I'm looking at here doesn't have his name either. Perfectly okay with this. It's weekly television. Don't give away good Aleister Black matches on free local television. Let him kick the shit out of jobbers for a while. That's fine. Jason Reynolds. Thank you. I knew the chat would come through. Jason Reynolds, of course, gets the shit kicked out of him by Aleister Black, which is fine. Keep building up Aleister Black to be somebody good. Then you have the King's Court. Jerry the King Lawler talking with Rusev with his continued angle with Bobby Lashley and Lana having their little thing. Thank you, Lit Mantis. About fucking time, Lit Mantis. You've been in the show all this time. You're just now following us. What kind of shit is that? Watching this show all that time, hadn't followed us.
It's fucking embarrassing.
Thank you for the
love
follow.
you.
I appreciate it. Look at Alistair
I always
Fiend.
have,
Oh, it's Alice.
and I always will. There, I said it.
Thank you, Alistair Fiend, very much for gifting the sub to Alice. That is very kind. Your first gifted sub here in the chat. I appreciate that very much, Alistair Fiend. Thank you. What happened to the old Lashley, says Noob. We remember back in 2006. You got the Amazon Prime. Come with that Prime subscription, Lid Mantis. It's totally fine. Thank you, Bill, for the bits. Always appreciate that. I don't know what happened to old Lashley. I liked Impact Lashley. I thought Impact Lashley was a badass. But, we're not getting Impact Lashley here. I'm not as bothered by this bit as a lot of people are. It's fucking wrestling. They do this kind of shit. It just happens from time. It's fucking Bitmania here tonight. I love it. Get the tables.
Street Profits bitches.
Goddamn Skippy, they look great tonight. Congrats to you, sir, because I know you're very psyched about the fact that the Street Profits looked awesome. Tony, thank you very much for the bits. And MJ, thank you for the bits. Really appreciate that very much. Where was I going with this? Oh, Bobby Lashley and Lana. I don't get as bothered by it as some people do. It's a good reason for Rusev and Lashley to have a match and kick the shit out of each other, which is okay. And honestly, look, Lashley's had some real turd matches. He's had some okay matches. I think Lashley needs a guy that can kind of carry him to a good match, and maybe I'm in the minority on that. But I just don't think you could put Bobby Lashley in there with anybody and get a good match out of it. I don't think that's the case. I think Rusev is a really nice matchup for Bobby Lashley because they're two big guys, and Rusev is athletic enough and a good enough wrestler that I feel like he can pull a good match out of Bobby Lashley. I'm actually looking forward to that match. I think that could be a surprisingly good matchup because Rusev is so fucking good, guys. He's so good. I just wish that, I see the commercials. I don't watch this Total Divas shit and everything like that. That's Super Guy over here watches that shit with his wife. But, I see clips of Rusev and Lana from Total Divas, and it looks like Rusev is a total fucking goof, and that they just do a lot of really dumb shit, and maybe that's why Rusev doesn't get pushed to the top of the card, because he's kind of a knucklehead like that. But he's so talented. He's so talented. And we go back to it all the time, me and Silky. Guy came out to a WrestleMania match against John Cena on a fucking tank. That's pretty cool. It was all downhill from there. Although he did marry Lana, so he's got that going for him. Mr. WWE says, I want Impact Lashley too, and it wouldn't be that hard to get back to Impact Lashley. I don't think so either. Good. Alice likes the Lashley and Lana, or the Lashley and Lana and Rusev storyline. Lashley versus Strowman was awesome, though. I agree. I thought that was set up quite nicely. And you're right. Everybody did think it was going to be the shits. And then when Lashley put Strowman through the fucking LED table or LED wall, that was fucking awesome. And then nobody could wait for that match, and it turned out to be pretty good. And thank you, Lit Mantis. I don't know why the alert didn't go off, but thank you for the sub there. For the Twitch, for the Amazon Prime sub. I appreciate that very much. Would you guys still want to see Brock Lashley, or has that ship passed? I don't think so at all. I think that match could still happen. I think it could still be good. I don't want to see Brock Cain Velasquez. I don't really have any interest in that match at all. Just because I think Velasquez is too green. I tweeted this out earlier. We're kind of spoiling what's coming up later on when Cain Velasquez shows up with Rey Mysterio and starts beating on Shelton Benjamin. If I'm going to buy, and this is total kayfabe, right? Because I know Cain Velasquez kicked the shit out of Brock Lesnar in the UFC. I get that. But I'm talking total kayfabe here. If I'm going to buy Cain Velasquez as a viable contender to whip Brock Lesnar's ass, somebody's got to teach that guy how to throw a fucking punch. And again, I'm not talking about real life punches, because we've seen that Cain Velasquez is a badass when it comes to that. But kayfabe punches, working punches, they looked horrible tonight. They just didn't look good. And it didn't do much to sell me on that match. But, I guess the money talks, and somebody over there in Saudi wants to see Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar, so that's what they're going to get. Lashley needs a lot of help, says Brian. Okay. Yeah, MJ, you're right. I think Rusev is vastly underrated as well. I don't know if he's underrated. I think people in the know, smart wrestling fans that watch programs like Speez and the Benchmark Show, I'm looking at all you people watching us right now, talking to you guys specifically. I think you guys know how good Rusev is. I just think there's something going on. There has to be something going on for Rusev not to have gotten a big-time push up to this point. And like I say, I see stuff, like there was that one episode where they were rolling around naked on the beach or something. There's cameras there, and somebody from WWE is saying, dude, you can't fucking do that. Don't do that shit. I just wonder if those two are just a couple of knuckleheads. They seem like a couple of grown-up kids just having a grand old time, and more power to them. They should. But maybe that's why he's not going to be pushed as a top guy. I don't know. Noob says there's no storyline for Becky because I know you want Becky dropped. Oh, to drop the Raw Women's title. It's going to be Becky and Charlotte again, and Charlotte will probably win because we got to up those numbers, get her up to 16 sooner rather than later. Yes, the benchmark is speechless, but don't go talking about the benchmark because you know what he's going to have to say about that.
Kill yourself.
I'll throw one out there for you, Alistair Fiend. Ted says Rusev was funny. The one clip I saw, he didn't like Lana dressing skimpy, so he mowed the lawn naked. I didn't see that. That's fucking ridiculous. That sounds like some shit that Rusev would do. That's funny. Ace Austin, Alicia, and Eddie Edwards on Impact are doing the cheating wife thing better. Yeah, I agree, Raven's Blood. The Ace Austin thing was really good. And he's such a smarmy little prick. He sells it really well. And it was all like, that was it was kind of on the down low. He's kind of doing it behind Eddie Edwards' back. And I really liked how they did that. I agree. I think that angle was done very nicely. I still don't know how Twitch works. Seriously, I'm a millennial who sucks at computers. Tell me about it, Litmantis. A buddy of mine was trying to tell me man, you got to get your fucking LinkedIn game going. I'm like, fucking LinkedIn, Jesus. I mean, I try to set the thing up, and I think it looks okay, but fuck, man. I was telling my wife when we were driving to pick up dinner today, I'm like, thank God I don't have to date or look for a full-time job in this day and age because I'd be fucking clueless. Absolutely clueless. Yes, Alice, I'm with you. I do not like Becky Lynch. I just want to see, says Mr. WWE, Brock versus anyone that wasn't in The Shield, including Jon Moxley. If it was a WWE versus AEW match, just no. Okay. Gannicus thought Lana was uncomfortable today. When she was on the screen, she leaned in for the kiss and then moved back. I think they all think it's weird. Probably, because it is weird. It is weird. Ted says, welcome, Ted. If Kane beats Brock and Bray beats Seth, WWE title to Raw, Universal title to SmackDown. If that happens, why did Kofi lose the title to Brock on Fox? That's a good question. I don't know. Kane Brock is going to be a clusterfuck, says MJ, and a few huge potatoes thrown in. That would be pretty cool. I don't mind those two guys. Now, that would make that match interesting. If they just go in there and start fucking potatoing each other, like real life kicking the shit out of each other, I think that'd be interesting. Silky Cardboard is still better than the other guy to have on. That's fucking wrong, dude. Oh, that's not very nice at all. Shut up! We can't do that. He'll be here on Friday. That other guy that you're talking about. Ace Austin 316. I just banged your wife, says Mr. WWE. That's pretty good. No, it's not a fat head, Ted. Although I found out that you can actually get like custom fat heads made. So we might have to get Speez and the Benchmark fat heads to put behind us in $1 Million Studios here. That would be pretty cool. Okay, let's jump back to Raw here. Another really solid match. Oh. Anyway, long story short, Rusev ends up at the restaurant where Lana and Lashley are having dinner and starts kicking the shit out of him. So we're going to get that match, which, again, I think could be pretty cool. Another pretty damn good match. Sin Cara versus Andrade. Go figure. Sin Cara pulling a good match out of his ass. And Sin Cara does pull good matches out of his ass every once in a while. It just seems like he's fucking hurt all the time and he just does weird shit for no reason. I don't really understand that guy. But, man... Andrade Sin Cara was a very entertaining match. Really well done by both guys. The only thing I didn't like about it, I get that Zelina Vega is a heel manager. I get that she's supposed to interfere and do shit to fuck with the faces and help her guy get over. I get that. Just don't have these guys selling for Zelina Vega when she's fucking 5 feet tall and 85 pounds. All right? I've been to strip clubs where chicks hang from guys' necks with their legs wrapped around them, and those guys aren't flipping over like fucking Sin Cara does. And those chicks weighed more than 85 pounds. It wasn't exactly the highest fucking caliber strip club because we were broke at the time, all right? So there's no fucking way. What I'm getting at here is, hopefully the wife's not watching the show, is that Zelina Vega should not be giving Hurricane Ranas to guys 3 times her fucking size, and they shouldn't be selling that shit. It just shouldn't happen. I didn't know Sin Cara still worked for WWE either. Raven's Blood didn't know he was alive. Yeah, I knew he was alive. Thank you. But I didn't know that he... But it was a good match. A really good match. I enjoyed it. 2 really, really good matches. And a squash match for Aleister Black that made a lot of sense. I almost said Aleister Fiend. That was really good. I wish I was the ref in the fucking... Of course, Brian, you would bring this up. If you don't know what Brian is talking about with the I wish I was the ref in the WWE 2K20 video that was released today, you can go to our Twitter account and look at... there's been a lot of talk about how shitty the graphics are in the new WWE 2K20 game, and they are shitty. But it was rather suggestive, shall we say. The clip that was on on our Twitter page at Speez Benchmark if you want to see what he's referencing there. Asuka might be a major player, says the noob, for the Raw Women's Division. Charlotte Flair will be nothing but cannon fodder for Becky again. Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Ted, we'll get to the Street Profits partner quick in just a few minutes here. Can you see Brock and Kane having a fake UFC match? That's something new in WWE. That would be cool. I think that would be cool. Just a shoot fight that's a worked shoot fight, but it doesn't look like a wrestling match. It looks like a UFC match. I'd be okay with that. Andrade and Zelina best heels on Raw, says noob. Okay. They're great. Andrade's as good a wrestler as there is out there right now. He's really good. And Sin Cara is making $400K according to Mr. WWE. How much of that do you think he's drawing in? I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm the OG Aleister. Okay, Aleister Fina, we'll keep that in mind. That video might well have had a Brazzers logo in the corner, says Gannicus. I'm telling you, it's really funny. It's really funny. Sin Cara wrestled as well as original Sin Cara tonight on Raw. Okay, Juanito. There you go. Mystico. All right. Viking Raiders... in what wasn't exactly a squash match, but a tag team title defense against former Raw Tag Team Champions Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. Viking Raiders looked great. Looked very, very good. As they have. I still thought it was maybe a little bit too soon to put the titles on those guys, but I'm not going to complain about it. That means they're going to be prominently featured, you would think, in the tag team division. And they're a team that deserves to be prominently featured because they're very good. They're very good. They come away with the win there. No big surprise there. All right. I've hit the end of this particular Raw recap. So let's see what happened next. Okay. Then we had the Rey Mysterio coming out, and, you know, Rey Mysterio just reminds us nowadays in this kind of swan song of his what a swell guy he is. I mean, he's just a really fucking good guy. The really good guy. Came out there, cut a really nice promo, always thanking the fans, always very gracious. There's not a lot not to like about Rey Mysterio. He's just a crazy, likable guy. And then he was confronted by Shelton Benjamin, and out came Cain Velasquez, who brawled with Shelton Benjamin in sort of a shoot-looking manner. But again, I didn't think Cain looked all that great. Teach the guy how to throw a shoot punch. Hang out with Ric Flair. That guy knows how to throw a fucking punch. Get The Undertaker in there. The Undertaker should be a permanent fixture at the WWE Performance Center, teaching those fuckers how to throw punches. He's around. He's got time. It should happen. Zelina Vega is the Joey Ryan of WWE, says Ravensblood. Oh, I shudder to think where this is going. It's not her Hurricane Rana that's flipping, guys. It's her P. Stop it. Look, it's already bad enough that I'm going to have to mention this fucking Joey Ryan later on when we're talking about Bound for Glory. Don't bring it up earlier, Ravensblood. Please retire, Ray. We don't need to see you anymore. Says, what? What the fuck? What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What are you talking about? Brian, Texans Legends fan? What are you talking about? He's got to stop doing those Star Wars Force punches. Yeah. Kane looks like me without a shirt on, says Ted. Okay, Ted. Well, I don't know, thankfully, what you look like without a shirt on, so we'll leave it at that because I'm perfectly okay with that. So, hanging out backstage is Humberto Carrillo, who is now making his way. He was actually drafted onto Monday Night Raw. And he's hanging out there looking like a fucking Power Ranger or something. I don't know what's going on with that outfit of his. But Seth Rollins gets done cutting his little promo about how he's going to beat The Fiend, which I hope he doesn't because I'd much rather see The Fiend, but it's neither here nor there. And Seth Rollins basically says, hey, look, why not have your first match here on Raw against me? Come out and challenge me. And I put this out there on Twitter because I got a lot of shit for it, which is fine. We're not all going to agree on shit. And I host a show where I give opinions. Of course, people are going to disagree with me from time to time. It's going to happen. But I said the same thing about this match between Humberto Carrillo and Seth Rollins as I said about the AEW match with Chris Jericho and Darby Allin. To me, and chime in on the chat here or hit me up on the phone lines, let me know what you think. To me, it doesn't make your champion look good when it takes him that fucking long and that much offense to put down a mid-card guy who hasn't really beaten anybody on the main roster. That was the same problem that I had with the Darby Allin match. Look, I like Darby Allin. He's got a cool little gimmick going. He's a crazy athletic guy. I got back and forth with a couple people. Darby Allin is not a particularly good wrestler. All right? I talked about Cain Velasquez punches looking bad. Darby Allin's punches look fucking ridiculous. I mean, they make Shane McMahon punches look good. We all know from Jody Mania that Shane McMahon punches like a drunk chick. So Darby Allin's look even worse than that. But Darby Allin does a lot of high-flying fucking acrobatic shit. He's a good athlete. He's a good gymnast. He's that guy that's basically a human fucking crash test dummy. And people get off on that shit nowadays. And that's fine. That's fine. But there's no fucking way that your world champion, Chris Jericho, should take fucking 20 minutes to beat the guy when he's half his fucking size and he hasn't had any legitimate wins on the main roster. And it's the same shit with Humberto Carrillo. I don't give a shit what he's done elsewhere. As far as this program goes, you put him in there with your top guy, your champion, and Seth Rollins hit him with fucking everything, and he was kicking out of everything. He was kicking out of everything, and he was getting one too many near falls against Rollins. Shit that probably would have put other guys down. Other guys down. But, of course, Seth Rollins is going to kick out of it because he's the champ. He's not going to lose his fucking match. No way. This is not... I get what people are going for. They're saying, well, you build new stars when you do this. You build new stars when you put a guy in there against your champion and he hangs tough and you say, oh, shit, this guy hung tough with the champion. He must be pretty good. Look, that's fine. It doesn't have to be against the fucking champion. Stop putting these guys in there with your fucking champions. It doesn't make sense. There's nothing to be gained for your champion by taking that match. And the only thing it can possibly do, yeah, okay, if it gives the other guy some shine, great, but you're doing it at the expense of your champion. And you shouldn't be making your champion look bad, especially not in a match where he's getting ready to fight the Fiend, who's this fucking superpower demon fucking crazy badass. Don't make it so difficult for Seth Rollins to beat some undercard guy. Because then I'm sitting here watching it going, this fucking Fiend is going to kick the shit out of this guy. Are you kidding me? That's my take. I get that some people don't agree. Get these guys some shine. Get Humberto Carrillo some shine against another guy, another main card guy that's not your fucking champion. Get him in there against the Ricochet. Get him in there against the Drew McIntyre. Let him last with Drew McIntyre for a little bit. And Drew McIntyre ends up hitting him with the fucking Claymore and kicks him through the fucking, through the ring and pins him and it's over with. Get him in there with those kind of guys. There's no sense in putting him in there against the champion. That's just me, guys. I don't need a fighting champion. I want championship matches and matches involving the champion to matter. And Chris Jericho versus Darby Allin doesn't fucking matter. And Seth Rollins versus Humberto Carrillo doesn't fucking matter either. That's just me. Let's get back to you guys here in the chat room here. Bill says, I didn't know if, talking about Carrillo, I didn't know if he was in his Halloween costume or not. Raven's Blood says, Humberto Carrillo is like Rocky Maivia back in the day. Good-looking guy that needs to have his ass kicked. Exactly. That Darby match made me care about Darby now. Before, I didn't care about him, but now I'm a little excited for him. Okay, Ted, and that's fine. That's fine. And I get that people... I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Darby Allin didn't come out of that match looking good, because he did. I'm saying, in my opinion, he came out looking too good, because I feel like he came out looking good at the expense of Chris Jericho. Because again, like Seth Rollins and The Fiend, you're building to a big match, Chris Jericho against Cody. And if Jericho is struggling that much to beat Darby Allin, then why should I believe that Cody isn't just going to come in there and kick the shit out of him? I mean, again, I get it. It's predetermined and so on, but it just, to me, it doesn't make sense. Yes, Kylie Ray, Houston product. Well, she was here in Houston for a while. I'm so glad she's back. She's a delightful person. I've had the good fortune to meet her before, chat with her on Facebook a couple times, and she is so nice, and I'm so glad that she's back. The difference between Jericho and Seth in that situation, says MJ, is as a face, you are right. It shouldn't take that long, but as a heel, Jericho uses that to give him a rub. Okay. I mean, I guess I can see that. I still just don't like it. I still just don't like it. Freebird says Darby versus Cody was the same as Darby versus Jericho. This was, what did you say? Hermento? First night on the main roster, can't buy him so quick. Yeah, agreed. It's too soon. It could have been against Styles. That would have been cool. Yeah, agree. And Brian says, don't put the champ in there as well. Raven's Blood says, I thought Darby Allin worked. He's half painted and not exactly normal. Him doing moves with his hands taped behind his back worked, in my opinion. Plus, Jericho is like 50. Okay, and I get the Jericho is 50 thing. Don't get me started on the guy with his hands tied behind his back. There's no fucking logical reason for a guy 100 pounds lighter than the other guy to be getting off offense and getting near falls with his fucking hands tied behind his back, especially when the other guy is the champion of the company. It's absurd. And Raven's Blood, we're going to agree to disagree because I love you dearly. But I'm not going to come around on that one. I hated that. That was terrible. Guys, why did Rollins burn the Funhouse down? What a dick. I agree, but apparently it's coming back. It's supposed to be here on SmackDown on Friday. Noob says Brian Cage came into Bound for Glory as a combination of the Terminator and Wolverine. Well, he fucking looks like both of them. And Ted says Y2J should have had Swagger come to his aid, but still a really exciting match. Okay. Darby versus Pac would have made more sense. Huge Pac mark here. Pac, I should say. Apparently we're supposed to say it Pac. Loved him ever since he was Neville. Loved him ever since he was Adrian Neville. Pac's the fucking man, and I hope he wins that title because he's outstanding. All right. So Seth Rollins comes away with the victory there, and our main event of the evening was your tag team match between the Street Profits, debuting on Raw in terms of their debut match on Raw. I believe so, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they've had another match. I think this was their first. Against the OC, Gallows, and Anderson with AJ Styles at ringside. And I'm going to tell you guys, and this is not just because Get the Tables, which, by the way, if you're not following those guys, what the hell are you doing? There's the information in the chat there. Make sure to give them a follow. And while I'm at it, our boy Dr. Huge, make sure you give him a follow here on Twitch as well. Both guys that put us over quite a bit, and I would appreciate it if you would support them also. Street Profits look great. The Street Profits are really, really good. Montez Ford is a fucking star. He is an absolute star, and I feel like D'Angelo Hawkins is a perfect match with him. The big guy, the athletic guy that can come in with the hot tags and just fucking mow people down, but he's pretty athletic as well. I could do without all their backstage silly shit that gets kind of old after a while, but you get those guys in the ring and they are really fucking good. They're really good. They're really good. And I loved this match. I thought this was a really good match too. I mean, this is 3, and it's a 3-hour show, so for fuck's sake, you should get at least 3. But this is 3 really good quality matches on Raw tonight. The tag team main event was really, really good. The Sin Cara Andrade match was really good. And the Drew McIntyre Ricochet match that kicked off the show was fucking outstanding. I mean, it was outstanding. And you had a couple relative squash matches in there. Aleister Black's was most definitely a squash match. Viking Raiders and their tag team match was kind of a squash match as well. I mean, not a lot of matches altogether, but there weren't any real turds tonight on the show. Wrestling-wise, there was a lot of good shit going on. It was really good. The Rollins-Carrillo match wasn't, I mean, that was an entertaining match. Again, I didn't like it from the perspective of I didn't think it did Rollins any favors, but that was a really entertaining match. This is a good fucking show, guys. This was a good Raw. We don't get to say that very often, but it was pretty damn good. Montez Ford is the Shawn Michaels of the Street Profits. Fair enough, Raven's Blood. If he turns heel on, if they get a nice run, and those guys somewhere down the road, I can totally see as tag team champs because they're that good. If those guys become tag champs somewhere down the road, stick together for a while, and you play that card where, you know, Montez Ford goes Shawn Michaels on D'Angelo Hawkins, I think that'd be fucking outstanding. I think it'd be outstanding. Because I'd love to see Montez Ford as a solo guy, but right now, shit. Don't break up the Street Profits right now. They're good, man. Yeah, no women's matches tonight, Noob. I don't know why that was. I don't know if they were just giving the ladies a break. I know that Rollins and Becky Lynch were just here in Houston this past weekend. I missed them, unfortunately, because they were here yesterday. But Rollins made the flight back, so I don't know why Lynch didn't. So I don't know. I don't know why there weren't any women's matches going on this evening. But a very, very good match that saw some great back and forth between the Street Profits. They finally executed a good hot tag. It wasn't both teams tagging at the same time and the heel just running into getting his ass kicked. It was Montez Ford had been getting his ass kicked, and then all of a sudden he tags in Dawkins. And he comes in and starts whipping ass, and that was awesome. It was really well done. AJ Styles, of course, getting involved. Finally, the referee was trying to get involved. The referee kept catching him. Finally, the referee sends him to the back. But before he can get to the back, Kevin Owens' music hits. And down comes Kevin Owens, hits AJ Styles with a stunner. Shenanigans followed up inside the ring.
Shenanigans?
And Montez Ford ends up hitting that big splash of his, which is very impressive for the 1-2-3. Street Profits get the win over the OC in a fantastic debut match for those guys. Really showcased what they can do. Montez Ford is another guy that sells really well. And again, I think the dynamic of those two guys is great. Ford's the guy that's going to sell and get his ass kicked, and fucking Dawkins is going to come in and fucking clean house and look great doing it because he's an athletic big. And that's great. I really like these guys a lot. And to the OC's credit, those guys are back on TV, putting on quality matches and doing a really, really good job of it. This is a really good match. He should have come out on a skateboard, says Gannicus. Missed opportunity. You will stop that right now, sir. So, all in all, gang, I thought it was a really entertaining Monday Night Raw. I really did. I enjoyed it. I'm going to be honest with you. There's times where I find myself fast-forwarding past matches that I just don't give a shit about, because there are quite a few that happen that I just don't give a shit about. I was very entertained by all the matches that were going on tonight. It was just a really, really well done effort. So, this is as close to an A grade as I would give Monday Night Raw in a very long time. A very long time. So, yeah, I know Mellow Mac doesn't like that there were no women tonight. I understand. You missed WWE in Houston. It wasn't an event, Alistair. They were at it was like a Comic-Con kind of thing, but it was very small. Becky and Seth were there. And I was going to go check it out, but I do another podcast on Sunday. I do my Houston Texans podcast on Sunday. So Sundays are taken from watching the game and getting ready for that show. So let's talk a little Bound for Glory, because I didn't have the opportunity to watch all of it last night, or any of it last night, to be honest with you. I've been checking the results and seeing a few highlights today. Checked in on Get the Tables last night. So it kicked off with this Call Your Shot gauntlet match. And a whole shit ton of people showed up in this match, but there were a few surprise entries in the Call Your Shot gauntlet match. Hornswoggle, or just Swoggle, if you will, showing up. And the return of one Kylie Ray, who we mentioned earlier. You guys might remember Kylie Ray very briefly with AEW and then left under mysterious circumstances. I don't think the story is really out there of why she decided to leave AEW, but she did. And it would appear that now she is over on Impact. And look, there are people knocking Kylie Ray for leaving AEW for Impact. Let's face the facts, people. Impact's women's division is the best there is right now. It is. They've got so much talent in that division. And for Kylie Ray to go there, I think is a great fucking move. They got Jordan Grace. They got Tessa Blanchard. I mean, they got some really talented women over there. They got Rosemary. They got, why am I forgetting fucking Johnny Mundo's wife? Or fucking, she's the champ right now, who's obnoxious as hell, but she's pretty good. There's a lot of talented females over there. I think it's a great fit for Kylie Ray, so good for her for going over there. And fucking Joey Ryan. Apparently Joey Ryan is on Impact as well. Count me in as a guy that is just not a Joey Ryan fan. I don't get... Thank you, Taya Valkyrie. Why the fuck did I blank on her name? Thank you, Ravensblood. Just not a Joey Ryan guy. I just think it's goofy shit. We'll see. But Eddie Edwards gets the win I forgot about Tennille Dashwood over there as well, formerly Emmalina, or Emma in WWE. Eddie Edwards gets the win in the gauntlet match there. Then we had the Impact Knockouts Championship match. Your champion, Taya Valkyrie, taking on Tennille Dashwood, again, formerly Emma. And look, another solid match. Taya Valkyrie gets the win there. Kind of getting tired of her as champion, but she's a heel champ, and me getting tired of a heel champ is probably not an altogether bad thing. She does a good job as a heel champ, and I don't think it's a huge. I mean, they're not exactly burying Tennille Dashwood. She just arrived, so it's not a huge loss for her. You had a 3-way tag team match for the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team titles. The North taking on Rob Van Dam and Rhino. You heard me correctly. Rob Van Dam and Rhino. And Willie Mack and Rich Swann. Willie Mack is a big motherfucker. And I'm talking about, I mean, he's a hefty guy. He's fat! I wouldn't go so far as to call the brother fat, but he's a big guy. But that dude, for his size, is fucking athletic. And Rich Swann, y'all know about Rich Swann. But anyway, as you might expect, the North come out victorious here. I like that they keep bringing RVD back just for shits and giggles, and he can still go a little bit. And Rhino's still a lot of fun because, look, anytime Rhino does the gore, I'm all for it. Because Rhino's gore is fucking amazing. But Noob says RVD turned heel on Rhino. Rhino set up for the gore, but Rob Van Dam blasted his partner with a super kick in a shocking betrayal. As boos rained down from the stands, the former Mr. Pay-Per-View blasted Mack and Swann with kicks before leaving to a chorus of disapproval. The North then flattened Rich Swann and retained the titles as fans and commentators alike tried to make sense of Van Dam's actions. So, you get an RVD heel turn on the big pay-per-view as well. The North are one of the best tag teams in wrestling, says Ravensblood. Ethan Page and Josh Alexander are so good together. Look, I watch the Impact watch-alongs with Get the Tables quite often. You guys should do the same because it's a lot of fun. Fun to chat while we're there. And I agree with you. The North are great. They're great. Coquina, welcome to you. Says, I'm not a Joey Ryan fan either, but it might create a little buzz for Impact, which can't hurt. Have you watched any of NWA Power? I have. I love it. I think it's great. I think the presentation is perfect. I think it's very, very good. You had Michael Elgin versus a guy who I'm not even going to try to pronounce his fucking name, but Michael Elgin wins. And from what I heard, everybody mentioned, I didn't see all of this match, but apparently a very, very, very good match. The one that everybody was talking about, because it was such a near hit for one Tessa Blanchard. It was the 5-way intergender ladder match for the X Division Championship. You had Ace Austin, who we mentioned earlier, Jake Christ, Tessa Blanchard, and let me make sure we've got the this Daga guy, or D-A-G. I don't even know how you pronounce his fucking name. Ace Romero joined Impact 24 hours earlier, was added to the match at the last minute. Oh, AC Romero, sorry. It says AC Romero. Joined Impact 24 hours earlier and was added to the match at the last minute. A house of a wrestler with a freakish athleticism. He added an interesting element to the match. But just as it looked like Tessa Blanchard had ascended to the top of the ladder to take the X Division Championship, she does that thing that everybody does in ladder matches where it's like they get to the top and they somehow forget how to climb a fucking ladder. And she's just kind of like, I don't know. And so it became pretty clear that somebody's coming up there to knock her off. Which it was Ace Austin who came up there, hits her with a kendo stick. Again, I don't know why kendo sticks are around when there's no people who actually would have kendo sticks around, but okay. Hits her with a kendo stick off the ladder, and Ace Austin was your new Impact X Division champion. And, of course, we had in your, I guess, semi-main event, the return of Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock took on Moose. Moose came away with the win, but Ken Shamrock back in the game as well. And your main event was Brian Cage over Sami Callihan. So, look, if you're sleeping on Impact, gang, the reason I bring this up again, I didn't get to watch most of this show, and I wanted to bring it up. I wanted to go over the results because if you're sleeping on Impact, there's some good wrestling going on there. I know it's one of those things that people like to fuck with Impact, and they like to make fun of Impact and their shitty TV deal or whatever. They're giving their shit away for free on Twitch, and, you know, back from the old TNA days when it was crap. I mean, look, they went through a fucking golden age in TNA. Samoa Joe and AJ Styles and Kurt Angle and all those guys. It was fucking outstanding. Look, there are some really, really, really good wrestlers there. Some really good wrestlers in Impact. And if you're sleeping on them, you shouldn't be. Because New Japan's always going to get the love. AEW is going to get a lot of love. WWE is going to get a lot of love. All right? But as somebody mentioned earlier, if you're not watching NWA Power, and you grew up like I did on Studio Wrestling, you got to check that out because it's outstanding, if for nothing else than just the nostalgia of it. And don't sleep on Impact, especially that women's division, but don't sleep on the men's division either. They've got some really, really talented guys. Some really, really talented guys. Raven's Blood says the Canadian Destroyer spot that Daga, however the fuck you say that guy's name, and Jake Chris did on the ladder was sick. I'm going to have to check it out because, you know, from what I'm hearing, it was very good. And this particular site, Bleacher Report, gave an A+ to the Brian Cage and Sami Callihan match. Sami Callihan is just a nasty motherfucker, and I'm not a big Sami Callihan guy. He's all right, I guess. But Brian Cage is a fucking freak of nature. I saw him, Silky and I went and chatted with him a bit. He was supposed to be on our show, but his flight was late. So we didn't end up getting him on the show after all, but we went and chatted with him after a show we checked out here in Texas. It's unbelievable how enormous that guy is. He looks so huge on television. You stand next to him, and it's absurd. Like, he looks like a fucking cartoon character in real life. It's totally insane. Pretty crazy that TNA had the best roster at one point. I agree, Ted. Moose saved Ken Shamrock's life on that outside dive. If Moose didn't catch him, Shamrock would have landed on his head. Yeah, there was another one from, was it L.A. Park or L.A. Parka? One of them. I don't know if you saw that one circulating on Twitter today. That motherfucker tried to dive, and he missed horribly and went fucking head first into the railing outside. It was not good. It was not a good look there either. Gang, it's about that time for us to get out of here this evening. So I want to thank you all for joining us. Man, a lot of great stuff happening here tonight as far as the bits go. Thank you to MJ, Get the Tables, Bill, Alistair Fiend for gifting the sub, Lid Mantis for the Prime subscription there. Appreciate that. Alistair Fiend dropping some bits as well, as did Lit Mantis. Thanks to all of you guys, and to all of you for sharing the program, for following the channel. Really appreciate that. Again, word of mouth is still a thing with us, gang. There's so many fucking wrestling podcasts out there. And look, we are not the guys. There's podcasting awards. There's this and that and the other thing. And, you know, who's your favorite wrestling podcast? Like, we're not going to go tag ourselves in that shit because that's just not what we do. If people enjoy the show, they'll enjoy the show. But if you do enjoy the show, let people know about it because there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of places for people to get their wrestling content when it comes to podcasting. And so we always appreciate you guys spreading the good word. So thank you very much to those of you that do, and I hope you will continue to do so. So thank you guys very much for being with me. I will be back with you alongside the weekend legend Kyle King this Friday, immediately following SmackDown Live. So I will look forward to seeing you then. But until then, for the Benchmark Silky Baines, Chris Speez, glad to have you with us here tonight. We'll see you Friday night, immediately following SmackDown Live, right here on the Speez and the Benchmark Show. Good night, everybody.